biggest thing I think for every single company, whether they're part of TiE programs or not, is that 2016 is off to a very shaky start. So really the critical thing for companies is to watch your cash burn, make sure you raise as much money as possible at this stage, and then just watch the burn and grow in a very measured way. Don't let your expenses get too far ahead of your revenue, and make sure you're hitting milestones that really show the growth in your company, because that's what it's going to take to get investors to then continue investing in your company. But it really is watch the burn. That's the message for 2016. The really good thing about our program is that the bandwidth matches the amount of resources we have. So we don't work with huge numbers of companies at a time. Our batches are about 4 companies at a time, maybe 5, maybe 6 at the most. And what's good about that is then the entrepreneurs really receive dedicated attention while they're in the program, as well as continuing attention after they leave the program. If we were to take in 80, 100, 120 companies per batch, that would just completely strain our resources. And frankly, I'm not sure it does much for the companies themselves. It really is a difference between, if you go to a huge university when you're leaving high school versus one with smaller classrooms, and you get much more personalized, undivided attention. You can look at it as saying that they've got about 350 advisors on their advisory board, which is a good amount of resources for 4 or 5 companies each. Biggest thing is that they have to be full-time on their startups. So we're not looking for people who are still looking at their startup ideas part-time and trying to kind of flesh ideas out. Rather, we do want people who already have a full-time effort going on in their startups. They typically come in teams, 1 or 2 people, those kinds of things. But we have taken in solo founders in the past as well. They don't have to have funding, but they do have to have the means to last for a while if they can't get funding for a bit of time. So what that means is, we put in $50,000, and that's nowhere near enough for a company to survive on. And we don't expect our money to be the only money that gets invested into the company. But a lot of times it takes time before a company can actually raise any significant amount of even angel or seed capital. A great company that's coming out very shortly is a company called Meed, M-E-E-D, and what they have is a professional network for college students. This is something that no other social network really addresses well. If you look at college students and what they need in order to create a good presence for themselves as a professional, things like LinkedIn and some of the other networks that are out there, they don't suffice. What's really, really interesting about this company is that they're now onboarding about 800 to 1,000 students per day, so it is really starting to take off. The other unique thing about TiE Launchpad is that the companies can pick their own mentor, their own dedicated mentor, as part of the program. So they can look at these 350 charter members and say, this person has a great background in security. I'm a security company, so I'd like to have that person work with me over the next few months. And by doing this, that person and I become the point people, if you will, for the rest of the TiE ecosystem. And it works really, really nicely.